Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Filing a Police Report Against My Nephew? And just wait until you hear why. This is ridiculous. And just for a content warning, this talks about Alzheimer's. My mom has late stage Alzheimer's and has been unable to manage her money and needs around the clock care. It's probably would be safer for her to be in a nursing home, but she made us promise to her to do that only as a last resort. Thankfully, she has a lot of investments and savings from my dad before he passed, so we can get her a hired personal care here in town in her own home. My sister is the one who lives closest and visits her often, so she handles mom's finances. We give my sister $200 a month each for her to run errands and to help look after mom since we both live out of the state. My other sister called me to tell me there's been a lot of cash withdrawals recently on my mom's card. I checked and there's nearly a year worth of $300 to $400 withdrawn. I call my sister who's handling finances and she confesses that she says that she never takes out any cash and only pays bills with the bank card and uses the credit card for groceries, etc. She freezes the bank card and I take a red-eye flight over. Long story short, we ask the bank where the ATM withdrawals happen. My sister looks shocked when she Googles the location and realizes it's near her son's school. We waited until the son got home and asked him where he worked, and he said a local restaurant. We said we would like to go with him to the restaurant to confirm that he works there, and he got really panicked and said the management just changed so they wouldn't know him. Like, we're gonna totally buy that one from you. Oh, he just doesn't know that the son works there anymore. I asked him for his paycheck and he finally says he gives up and he doesn't have a job. My sister asks him where the money and stuff he got came from, and he admits that he steals the bank card to make cash withdrawals. I ask him where he got the pin, and my sister confessed that she writes the pin down on a sticky note so she doesn't forget them. Facepalm. I take back the bank statements and calculate out that he owes about $14,000. I told him that he has to pay it back now or I'm filing a police report on him for theft, and my sister begs me not to, saying that if he has anything on his record, he might not get into college. Maybe I should have thought about that before stealing 14 grand. I told her I won't if she pays it back, but she said that she's struggling and doesn't have the money. She's a single mother. I told her that's not good enough, and she complains that her son is only 16 and doesn't know any better. I told her that they won't put a 16-year-old in jail, but he might do it again when he's older, so it's better for him to learn his lesson now. She says we can just take out what's in his inheritance from our mom's will, and I yelled at her that if our mom was in a state to judge, she would write him out of the will for this. I call up my lawyer and ask what I should do, and he suggests filing a police report, but not include my nephew's name just yet. I did that, and my sister is screaming at me that I'm ruining her son's life by involving the police, and he's only a kid. I'm not happy about it, but he's 16, and he's stealing from his own grandma, who looked after him when his mom was sick, and I can't imagine what he's going to do when he is older. All right, folks, what do you think about this one? Do you think OP is the jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
I feel bad for OP in this situation. They're kind of in a bad position. No matter what they do, someone's going to be unhappy. And 16, OP is right. 16 is old enough to know better. I have no doubt that he knew what he was doing. This is just plain theft, plain and simple. When he lied about having a job, he lied about having a job because he knew what he was doing was wrong. That's a pure admission of guilt. If he didn't think what he was doing was wrong, then he would just been like, oh no, I don't have a job. I've just been taking money from the bank card. I thought grandma was fine with this, right? So he knew what he was doing. Little kids know it's wrong to steal because you teach them it's wrong to steal, right? So I don't think OP is wrong here for filing a police report, because that's just about the only way that money's going to be repaid. And if OP does know their grandmother or their mother well enough, then they probably are aware that the mom would write them out of the will. So it's really difficult. These kind of situations are always hard to judge because the person who he's stealing from, of course, can't make those financial decisions. So they rely on other people to make the best decision in their in for them, right? So it's hard. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. I'm a former adult protective social worker, and this is exploitation and a crime. If you are in the US and your mom needs a nursing home in the next 5 years, Medicare, which pays for long-term care, audits the finances upon submitting an application. They could deny paying her bill until the amount that was stolen was paid back by someone, the family, to the facility for that amount that was taken. He either needs to get a job or pay back every penny he stole or face the justice system. This behavior needs to have consequences. My sister did this when she was young and my parents did nothing. Now she has multiple felonies for theft, identity theft, and stealing credit cards. He needs to learn a lesson. This is also the mother's fault. She did not take care of the PIN or the card. Yeah, I mean, it's weird that she didn't notice that the card was missing, but she probably also didn't expect her son to be a thief. I mean, whoever is like, oh yeah, I bet my son's stealing stuff today again. My mother-in-law's granddaughter did this too, and after all the drama, I found out my sister-in-law, the thief's mother and mother-in-law daughter, had committed credit card fraud against her mother in the past. I was like, wow, I guess the granddaughter learned it from her mother. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Mad at My Artist When They Hid Their Initials in My Tattoo? Do I need to read this one? It's like, if your tattoo artist did not inform you what they were going to do, then I would have to say that no, you're not the jerk. But let's read this one. This is a short one, names changed for privacy. I went to a tattoo shop in my area with a photo of the tattoo I wanted. It was one my dad had gotten to honor the passage of my grandfather, whose father also had it. But the point is, it was very important that the tattoo looked exactly like it did in the photo. I get to the shop, I explain everything. I pay, I get the tattoo, and we're done. I think it looks awesome, everything is great, until a few weeks later when I show my great-grandmother that tattoo. She's ecstatic, grabs my arm to look at it and compliment it, then asks, "Who's AJ?" I ask her what she means, and she points out that the tattoo has the initials A and J, or maybe a T, that were hidden in the tattoo. I'm instantly mad, as my artist's name is Alice Trevor. She tries to assure me that it's not a big deal, that if I hadn't noticed until now, but I still reached out to the artist, sort of irritated. They told me that the style of art I got is called traditional, and it's pretty rad for all artists who do it in that style to do. I demanded a partial refund and they refused, so I complained to the owner, who made the artist give me a full refund. Now the artist is running a full smear campaign talking about moving shops and all kinds of stuff. My sister says that I'm a jerk for pushing the issue, but I feel like at the end of the day, I told you exactly what I wanted and you didn't do that. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
So, I don't have a problem with tattoo artists putting initials in tattoos as long as they've explicitly said that that's what they're going to do. They can't just sneak tattoo initials into a tattoo and not tell you. And that's really what it boils down to. This tattoo artist, if they had this planned out in their head that this is what they wanted to do, then they should have made it explicit that with tattoos that they do, they always put their initials in them. And then OP could have made the decision as to whether to get the tattoo from them or some other artist. So that's really what this boils down to. This boils down to respecting someone's, bodily autonomy and their decisions with what they want in their tattoo. And so I think that's the crux of this issue, and I think the tattoo artist was completely inappropriate here to do this without permission. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, and I would even consider suing. They kind of branded you with their initials, and they should get fired. The artist had no right to hide their initials on your skin without your consent. I would be highly upset if this was done to me. Here's the thing, I worked in tattoos for over a decade, and I can tell you that no one, and I mean no one that's a professional artist, would ever consider hiding anything, much less their own name or initials, inside of someone else's tattoo. It's not traditional, it's not normal, and it's not okay. I'm horrified that some scratcher tried to pass this off as a thing. It's not a thing. I'm with some of these other commenters that OP should sue. It's not frivolous if someone's branded their name on you without your consent. Super uncool. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice and get ready for some bad jokes. But before I say all that, I have a sad day today. I failed at Wordle. There were too many words. There were too many words with the same starting letter. I should have been more strategic, but I just did not realize how many words had the same starting letter. I just was not thinking. I needed more coffee apparently this morning. What did the big red bucket say to the small white bucket? You're a little pale. Oh no, that's terrible. I love it. I love it so much. Amber's like, I can see where this one's going. So, what kind of tea do I have? I have Mega Mint today.
Same.
Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to pay for my niece's contact lenses? Oh, right. This one has a lead a little bit buried here. My sister came to me and asked for $700 for my niece last year to have contact lenses for a year. They had financial difficulties and my niece really wanted them, but they couldn't afford them. I'm not rich, but I haven't visited them in years due to living in another country, so I've missed a few Christmases, so I agreed. It would cover the optometrist visit and contacts for a year. I sent her the money via e-transfer, expecting her to do all the legwork and get the contacts. Fast forward a few weeks, and I asked if she likes them, the contacts. She confirmed that she does and doesn't elaborate. Finally, with the travel restrictions lifted, I went to visit my family and friends. My sister lives in another city than everyone else, and it was a last-minute trip, so I didn't really warn her because I wasn't sure that I could visit. I couldn't get a hold of her, so I called her husband, who confirmed they were home. One of my friends canceled, so I rented a car and drove to the next state. She greeted me, but didn't want me to go inside. I was so confused, but luckily her husband saw me too and welcomed me in. I met the kids, their new dog, and saw my niece had glasses, and I asked her if she had given up on the contacts because they were scratchy and drying. She looked at me like I had 3 heads and said that she never got contacts. My sister was looking very uncomfortable, and I was so confused, saying I sent some money so she could get some contacts. Her husband looked at me and her for a minute and asking the kids to go to their room. Turns out my sister used the money to bring home a dog that she wanted during the pandemic. She told her husband that she found the dog and it was probably a runaway with no collar and a chip. But in reality, she paid for it. I was upset. I got duped into giving her money for a dog they shouldn't have had, according to her husband, because they were having trouble covering the vet bills, but knowing that she was paid for the dog with my money caused them to get into a fight in front of me. I walked out and I was mad, but finished with my trip. My sister called me a month ago to ask me for more money to pay for my niece's contacts for real this time, but I'm out of goodwill and I told her to save up for it, and she has started crying, saying her husband is blaming her for wasting the money and she wanted to make it right by getting the contacts now. That's not how you make it right. I told her to pick up some waitressing shifts to cover the cost. She was a waitress and now she's a stay-at-home mom. She yelled at me for being the jerk for not being willing to pay for the contacts. Oh, right, folks. Theft is a pretty common theme in today's stories. What do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
I don't see how OP is the jerk in this situation. OP, you already paid $700 for contacts. You already paid for the contacts, and I don't even think contacts cost $700. As far as I'm aware, they're usually maybe they don't have the insurance or, optometry, but I don't think they usually cost that much. I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is that your sister stole money from you. You already paid for the contacts in spades, and you wasted the money on something else. So, yeah, you're off the hook. You've already paid for them. Now it's up to her to figure out how to get that money back. So, yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. If the husband is upset with her wasting the money, hopefully he's a good enough person that he would also be upset with her harassing her last victim with a do-over. Let him know that she's trying to solve her marital problems by mooching even more off of you, and that you've lost your goodwill, and hopefully he understands that you won't be comfortable donating to them again. OP should have asked for the $700 back. You can already see the entitlement growing in a real time because the sis came back for asking for the actual real contact money. I wouldn't trust her to not use the money on some random thing anyways. Oh, now you're really gonna buy contacts for real this time? Sure you are. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a happy Tuesday. And yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
My sister has not the jerk if the husband is. There's no more reading for Brian.